Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
In the Imperial year 2519, word reached the Emperor of an enormous orc horde descending upon the Empire via the Blackfire Pass. The Emperor Karl Franz summons the Elector Counts, and a great host of men, joined by their dwarfen allies, arrive at the mouth of the pass to stem the green tide. Orc and goblin tribes mass in uncountable numbers. The orc warlord Vorbad Ironjaw commands the orc army, intending to smash through the lines of defenders and raise the fertile lands beyond. The Empire must hold the line and prevent the orcs from reaching their end of the pass before nightfall. The orcs prepare to charge the Imperial lines with reckless abandon, as for every greenskin unit cut down, another will take its place from the endless hordes funneling down the pass. Karl Franz relays orders to his commanders for the coming battle. Vorbad Ironjaw bellows the order to attack. The Orc assault begins with cavalry advancing down their right flank, and also down the left. Orc shaman and artillery begin to bombard the Empire lines. The Empire respond with a general advance, leaving behind those units disrupted from the Orc bombardment. Empire wizards confound the Goblin cavalry on the right flank. War magic slows the cavalry advance on the Orc left. A forlorn hope of troll slayers and flagellants surges forward in the Imperial centre. The Orc cavalry begins its charge. Boar boys thunder into crossbowmen. Flagellants receive an Orc cavalry charge. Giants lumber forward in the centre. Orc magic empowers the boar boys. The Orc artillery fires another bombardment, crushing flagellants into paste. Flagellants are ridden down by Orc boar boys. and the Empire archers suffer a similar fate. Frenzied flagellants manage to drag down some Orc cavalry, and the Boar Boys pull back ready for another charge. Flagellants are baited into a charge by Orc infantry, while Trollslayers and Flagellants swamp the Orc cavalry in the centre. Empire Knights thunder into Goblin Wolf Riders on the Empire left. The Empire hopes to throw the Orc invasion backwards and buy themselves more time. The Flagellants are peppered with Goblin arrows as they charge home. As the first line of Empire defenders clashes with the Orc horde, Karl Franz realises that the Orcs are yet to bring their heavy infantry to bear. The mass of Orcs, Trolls and Ogres in the Orc centre is a daunting prospect. If the Empire can win the cavalry engagements on the flanks, the Orc advance will be slowed to infantry pace. Pistoliers charge Boar Boys on the Orc left, whilst Empire Wizards continue to support the Empire attack with magic. The Goblin cavalry is driven off by the Empire Knights, who then fall back in good order. Pistoliers manage to interrupt the Orc cavalry formation. Flagellants mow down Goblin infantry, then pursue into the Giant, which they manage to wound. However, the Giant is too strong for them, and they are squashed underfoot. Orc Boar Boys are quickly overcome by Flagellants and Trollslayers. The Empire then reorganise their lines, awaiting the next wave of Orcs. An exposed unit of Empire Knights is charged by Boar Boys and flanked by Goblins, whilst Wolf Riders harass more Knights. The wounded Giant takes his revenge on some more Flagellants, and Pistoliers are charged by Boar Boys. The Orc reserves begin to move forwards. Greenskin cavalry and infantry assault the Flagellants, while more cavalry get into the flanks of the Trollslayers. Greenskin magic disrupts the Empire Knights and boosts the charging Boar Boys. The Knights are overwhelmed by the Greenskin numbers, although several Boar Boys are brought down as well. But the Pistoliers heroically drive off the Orc aggression. One unit of Flagellants is mown down by Goblin cavalry. However, with infantry support, they inflict enough damage to win the combat and drive back the Giant. The Slayers are not so fortunate and are mown down before the Goblin chariots. The remaining Empire Vanguard units prepare to throw themselves back into the fray. The Slayers launch a frenzied charge into the waiting Orc archers. Pistoliers engage the Orc and Goblin cavalry on their right flank, and Empire Knights engage the remaining Goblin Wolf Riders on their left flank. The Empire Infantry forms a solid defensive line across the centre of the board, while Knights secure the flanks. The Empire 2nd and 3rd lines hold position in the pass. So far, the Empire tactics appear to be holding the Orcs at bay. But the Orc reserves are beginning to appear, increasing the pressure on the Empire lines. The Empire sorcery is thwarted by the Goblin Shaman. A Dwarven hero joins the Slayers to fulfill his oath, while Imperial Griffin Riders move forward in support of the Knights. The Goblin cavalry is quickly overrun. Empire missile troops start to shoot at the goblins they can see. Flagellants manage to surround one giant and bring it down. The Dwarf Slayers kill the Orc archers, but are then in turn destroyed by the Orc heavy infantry. The victorious Orc ogres then set off in pursuit of fresh prey. Empire Knights reposition to await the Orc countercharge. Another giant is spotted heading for the front lines. And in response, the Empire roll out the big guns. Ogres charge into the rear of the Pistoliers. More ogres and boar boys charge the Empire Knights, and wolf chariots charge the Empire crossbowmen. Across the field, Orc forces make a steady push forward. Sighting gaps in the Empire line, the Orcs deploy their heavy troops. Orc magic bolsters their fighting spirit, while bolts of magical power plough through the Empire lines, causing mass confusion. On the Empire left, the Knights are pushed back and overwhelmed by the Orc assault. The Orcs then redeploy to await the Empire counter. On the Empire right, the Pistoliers are overwhelmed and forced to retreat. In the centre, the Empire infantry buckles under the charge of Goblin chariots. The Orcs then redress their lines, preparing for the next round of fighting. On the left, Knights launch an all-out charge into the Orc forces. In the centre, Flagellants and Halberdiers surge forwards. Empire artillery take up firing positions, while Imperial magic ensures the final unit of Knights completes its charge. And on the Empire right, Goblin Wolf Riders are surrounded by Pistoliers. goblin archers, and a unit of ogres are all ridden down by the charge of the Empire Knights. More orc infantry is destroyed by the charge of the flagellants, who continue headlong into the waiting ogres. The ogres ensure that the Empire infantry meets a sticky end. Orcs and trolls launch an attack upon the Empire Knights, who hold the left flank. More orcs assault the weakened Empire centre, and black orcs fall upon the final unit of flagellants. Pistoliers are caught by ogres, while a giant makes it through to the last surviving Empire Vanguard troops. The orcs begin to exploit holes in the Empire line, with fresh green-skinned cavalry units surging forwards on the flanks. Orc characters begin to join in the fray, with wyverns sowing terror amongst the Imperial lines. As the fighting escalates, more and more orc units are drawn to the battle. On the Empire left, the knights are forced to give ground in the face of relentless waves of orcs. On the Empire right, the orc forces also manage to break through. The orc giant smashes straight through the Empire centre, while the surviving Empire Knights are surrounded by orcs on all sides. Black orcs and ogres overwhelm the Empire halberdiers before advancing into crossbowmen hiding in a wood. And slaying them too. The front line of Empire troops is now well and truly shattered, with the orcs dominating close combats across the field. Empire units change strategy and begin to fall back. Without the impetus of close combat to keep them surging forward, the orc advance should slow down as their unruly nature takes hold. The first great cannon battery is now in range. They open fire on the ogres, routing them completely. The giant crushes the last remaining Empire resistance and continues his advance towards the Empire lines. All that remains of the Empire Vanguard is a single unit of knights. The orcs continue to push forward, charging Empire units where they can. Greenskin magic destroys a cannon. The orcs are now within striking distance of the Empire second line. Knights are pulled down by trolls. Wolf Riders chase off the last Pistoliers and continue forward into the Empire guns. Black Orcs slay another stand of Knights before being ridden down. Ostermark Horse Archers take up position on the left flank. as tattered Empire cavalry units clear out the goblins. Empire infantry take up defensive positions, and the artillery prepares to fire. Cannon draw line of sight to the ogres and destroy a second unit. The main artillery battery now has line of sight to the giant, and the monster is felled in short order. A vicious cavalry fight breaks out on the Empire right, with the orcs now clear to charge the Empire guns. Vorbad Ironjaw unleashes the power of the war, giving the orcs a free bonus move at the start of the turn. Black orcs catch the cavalry. Boar boys thunder into the Empire guns but take heavy fire on the way in. A fresh wave of orc boar boys slams into the Empire knights. More orcs swarm around the Empire flanks. Fresh wolf riders assault the Empire guns. Hordes of orcs thunder into the Empire lines as a wyvern joins the fray. The Empire throw in their final cavalry reserves, while the Dwarfen Air Force hovers overhead, raking the orc lines with bullets. Light cavalry supported by the Griffin chase off the Black Orcs, and the Goblin units are pushed away. Remaining combats play out, and the orcs are held back. And so the battle ends, with great bloodshed on both sides. The orcs have been held at bay for now. But the battle has cost the Empire dearly, and the orcs would surely have breached the second line of defence had the light lingered longer. As such, neither side can claim a true victory this day, and both generals marshal their forces and retire to fight another day.